So I've realized something over the past 3 months of having a newborn is that I don't have anybody that checks in on me. And I don't think it's because I don't have friends or family that don't care. I think it's as men, we just don't realize that we need to check in on other men. And I'll be honest, I'm part of the problem too. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another why video. These why videos are always, my weekly why videos are always going to be a video that discuss the topic of being a husband, being a father, or your mindset, or like I've said before, a mixture of all three. Today's video, the reason why I'm doing it is because recently I was thinking, how often do I actually text one of my guy friends and check in on him and see how he's doing? And I'm not talking the casual like, hey bro, how you been? Or hey man, how is everything going? And it's a very surface level answer. I'm talking about not accepting that surface level and be like, no, like, bro, how are you doing kind of thing. And the reason why this came about is because, like I said, I have a 14-week-old son. And over these past 14 weeks, if you have ever had a newborn, you know that that stage is very rough. Some people love the newborn stage. Me and my wife are not fans of it. It's very, very tough, at least for us. I don't know if it's tough for you guys, but when you have a newborn, what I realized is I've had friends and family members call or check in or text or whatever, and the first thing they always ask is, how is Cassie doing and how is your son doing, or how is Adonis doing? And that's the way it should be at the end of the day. I don't want this video to come off of like, don't check on the wife and you should only be checking on the dad or the husband. But it makes sense why they asked that. Cassie was pregnant for 9 months, which was very rough, changed her body, changed her sleeping schedule, changed her eating schedule, made her sick. Like, the 9 months is rough, and then once you're done with the 9 months, it's not like it gets any easier. Sleep gets worse. There's other side effects of like postpartum anxiety, postpartum depression, your hormones change. I can't say I understand or I know what moms go through, because I will not say that. However, seeing how, I'm trying to choose my words very carefully, how demanding and tough it is for a female, I am not taking that away. I know it is rough, and that's why it actually made me happy that so many people were checking on her. It did, however, raise the question of how often does someone look at the dad? And I started thinking of all my guy friends who had newborns, not right now, but in the past, and I did the same thing. I would always text and say, hey, how's your wife doing and how's your newborn doing? Very rarely did I ever ask how they are doing. Because again, I know what the wife or what the mom is going through, and it's very serious, so we should check on them. And I heard, I was watching a podcast by Jordan Peterson, and he was basically saying that when a baby is born, the mom's like main priority and job is to provide for that child and be there for that child and nurture the child and breastfeed the child, and you lose sleep with the child and all that stuff. So when the kind of the role of your wife switches to taking care of a newborn, your role as a husband needs to go into overdrive. So you need to take care of your wife. You need to make sure your wife is okay, because your wife's not checking on herself. Your wife is checking on the baby, making sure the baby's okay. But your job as a husband is now to check on your wife and make sure, hey, are you doing okay? Do I need to take the baby? Do you need a nap? Do you need sleep? Can I make you dinner? Can I get you coffee? Whatever it is, that is your job. And I think what happens is as dads, our job changes, or I guess maybe heightens, where it's like now we go back to work, right? So we have to provide. when we get home from work, we have to take care of obviously our family and switch into that role of checking on your wife, doing things around the house, taking care of the kids, the older kids. Like for instance, my situation, I have a daughter. So taking her to gymnastics, taking her to dance class, making sure she's entertained, making sure she's fed, doing her showers, and then still helping out with obviously the newborn as much as you can, whether that's prepping bottles, whether that's cleaning up around the house, whether that's again making dinner for your wife, because her main concern is obviously making sure that the child is taken care of. So you keep everything organized. And then on top of that, you also have just the stresses of newborn, whether, you know, the newborn is sick and your wife starts to stress of like, hey, do you think it's this? Your job as a male, or as a husband, at least I feel, you can't show her that you're stressed. You got to be that rock. So you can't, even if you are like, oh, kind of, you know, worried that maybe the baby is getting sick or maybe they have this, you can't show that. You got to be that rock for your wife, and you got to say like, oh, it's going to go through, it's going to be okay. And even if you don't think it's going to be okay, your job is to say that so that it's, again, less stress on your wife. From my personal experience, you say something enough, you start to believe it. So if you're going to talk negative of like, oh, the baby is probably sick, or oh, it's probably leading to this, you're going to believe it. So in my opinion, I'd rather talk positive of like, oh, it's going to be okay. Even if you don't believe it right then, you say it enough, you'll start believing it. But that being said, when you're doing all of that, from what I've noticed is the dad may seem like he's okay, but chances are he's not okay. And I can't blame anybody for this. I'm not, like I said, I just started realizing it because like I was talking to my therapist and she was asking me like, hey, who do you have as like your support group? Who are your best friends that you can call on if you need something? And when she first said that, I went through my list of best friends. My initial best friend I'm married to, okay? So there's that thing of like, when you're struggling with, you know, stuff that's going on in the family, whether you, again, like I was just saying, if a child is sick and you're worried about it, you don't want to go to your wife, but it'd be nice to be able to go to a best friend and say, hey, you know, just to kind of vent. So I realized, okay, sometimes I can't go to that best friend. And then I went down the list. My next best friend, she likes to play Barbies with me, my daughter, so I'm not going to talk to her about this. And then my newest best friend is currently living off of breast milk, my son. So, and I realized this because a couple weeks ago, like I was going through it and I realized like, hey man, I really need someone to talk to. And I realized there was no one I could call. And again, I'm not saying that that's their fault. It's just, there's no relationship there. And I think it's again, initial of like, you have to initiate it instead of just saying, what's up, bro? You need to be the one that checks in on them and says, hey, let's go get a bite to eat, or hey, let's go work out or do something, just so you have that. Because from my experience, there are a few friends that I talk to about this. And when I talk to them about it, they also went through it, or they're going through it. And it made me realize that the ones that are going through it are the ones that are trying to not only just provide for their family, but be the person that when they come home, they're making dinners, they're helping out around the house, they're helping out with the kids, they're helping get ready for bed. Like they're trying to do all that stuff. If you know someone who is trying to do all that, from my personal experience and my opinion, they are going through it. They are struggling because again, they're trying to do all that and keep it together at the same time. The people who aren't struggling, from what I've seen, is they provide and that's it. They go to work, they do what they need to, they come home, they don't help around the house, they don't help cook, they don't help with the morning or the nightly routine with their kids, they don't do any of that. And that's why they're not going through it. So if you know a male that is doing all those things, I would encourage you to check in on them. Because even if they seem like they're okay, I was just talking to Cass about this the other day, I feel like with this, where we're at right now, a lot of people feel like they can't admit that they're going through it or even reach out to for therapy or anything, because I think we have this like image of like, I gotta seem like I have it all together. And from what I've seen on social media, the people that post how amazing their relationship is or how their marriage is, they have the most issues. The people who post about how they have all this money usually don't have any. The people that post that their kids are their everything and their main focus is their kids are the ones that their kids are struggling, like they're going through it. this image, like that's again from my personal experience. If I don't believe anything I see on social media, especially the ones that are flaunting stuff, because I've seen it firsthand of like people posting those things, and then on the backside of it, when it's not on social media, it's very apparent they're struggling. So where I'm getting with all this is, I think we confuse being strong with being alone. Being strong doesn't mean that you don't need help. I think being strong is actually admitting that you need help. Being strong doesn't mean that you never struggle. I think that it's you're strong because you're always struggling. Being strong doesn't mean that you don't need advice. There's nothing wrong with asking for advice. Being strong doesn't mean that you never need someone to listen to. Like, I'm not saying you need, it goes back to that wants and needs. I'm not saying you need a buddy to fix all your problems, but it might be nice to have someone to go through these problems with, or vent about your problems to. And the biggest thing is having enough self-awareness to recognize when you actually need a support group. Cassie was just telling me that she went to gymnastics the other day, and there's a bunch of moms there, and obviously all of them have, you know, little kids and everything. And to hear her being able to have a group of females that have went through what she went through, or going through what she went through, or the newborn stage, or just someone to vent, it made me so happy as her husband, because it's like that's a place where she can go once a week and talk to people. I don't know what she's going through. I'm a man, right? I don't know what a female goes through when it comes to the newborn phase. I know what a man goes through for the newborn phase, but to hear that she has that support every week where she could just go vent, get some coffee, like enjoy herself, that made me very happy as her husband, because I think that is very important. But that being said, again, I'm not saying men don't need that. And I'm not saying you need a huge group like Cassie. It was only, I think, 2 to 3 girls that she was talking to. And I think as a man, as a husband, as a father, you need to really like think of who do you have in your community? Who is your support group that you can go to? 2 to 3 dudes that if you were going through it, you could call them and be like, hey dude, I need to come over, I need to vent. Or hey bro, can we go grab some lunch? Like, do you have that? And if you don't, I think that's where it's like, okay, what can you do to create that? Don't wait until someone reaches out to you. Be the person who actually initiates it. So like I said, text them, invite them over, go grab a bite to eat, get a workout in, go for a run, do something. Because I know from personal experience, sometimes it takes being asked like 3 different times the same question before you actually open up and say what's going on. So if you ask your buddy, hey, how you doing? And he's like, fine, I would dig a little bit deeper. If you dig a little bit deeper, usually it's about 3 times. That's when they really open up and they say, hey man, I'm going through it right now. And then you just listen. And then you provide as much advice as you can. It's also very important, I think, that for your kids, they see, hey, you know what? Dad does have people he can rely on outside of his wife and outside of his kids, outside of people he works with, people that he has good relationships, strong relationships, people that they can rely on. So that your kids also see it's good to have people that you can rely on outside of your family. And at the same time, you're supporting other people. You're checking in on other people. And Dad's not afraid to say, hey, I'm having a rough day, or hey, I'm having a tough time right now. And like I said, the biggest thing I've learned over these past 3 months is it's not that I need more people around me, I just need deep relationships with other males that have went through this, other husbands, other fathers. Either they're going through it or they've gone through it. So if you're a husband or a dad that is carrying a lot right now, I want you to think about one thing. Who is the one person that you could call when you're not okay? And it can't be your spouse. And if you can't think of anyone, then, like me, maybe it's time you start building those relationships. And the other side of that is, who is the one guy that you are close to that you are constantly checking on? Because maybe he needs someone to ask him too. So don't be the guy who waits for somebody to check on him. Be the guy who checks on somebody else. That is my why message for the week. Hope you guys have a great week. Stay happy, stay healthy, and above all, don't be average. I'll catch you guys next week.